everybody, this is Julie the Whippy Chick, and today I'm going to do a tutorial on how to make this really cool, chunky, colorful, stash busting, yarn eating rug. So yeah, come with me and let's get started. Okay, so the most important thing you're going to need for this project is lots and lots and lots of scrap yarn. I like my colors really bright and crazy. Other people like more earth tones. Whatever you like is fine, you know, and also think about where you want to put your rug. You know, you might want to have colors that match. I'm using this pattern as a Scrapbuster, but you could certainly use all new yarn. It's completely up to you. Also, you are going to need a huge hook. I am using a big 16mm hook. I got this at Michael's. I'm not sure how much it was. Maybe $6 or $7 for this great big hook. And it did come with two other big hooks. This just happens to be the biggest one in the set. And you're also going to need some scissors because we will be trimming our ends. In this project, I use a magic knot. When I come to the end of a skein, not really a skein, more like a ball of yarn, I use a magic knot so that I don't really have to weave in any ends. Those knots are so tight, you really don't need to weave them in. And because it's such a bulky fabric that you're creating, you don't really need to hide any ends. So the first thing you're going to do though is you're going to get all of your strands together. When I do this project, I just leave the balls right on the floor in a little bag or a basket, and it's fine. I haven't really had any problems with them getting tangled up. But you're going to get all of your strands together. I'm going to use 6 strands and make a slip knot, just as though they were all one big thick piece of yarn. From there, you're going to insert your hook, and you're going to chain up 45 chains. So there's one. And you're just going to treat it like it's all one big thick piece of yarn. There's 2. Sorry, I keep bumping my camera. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And before I finish this, I'm going to let you know, you want to keep these a little bit loose because you are going to be building into them. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to continue up to number 45, and I'll meet you when I get there. Okay, so I've got my 45 chains already made, and so far I just love how all these colors are working together. I am going to chain one more. The pattern is chain 45 plus 1 because that's our turning chain. And I am going to work into the very next stitch, not the first one on the hook, but the next one over. So I don't want to work into the turning chain. And I'm going to be putting a single crochet into that stitch, or into that chain, excuse me. So there's one single crochet. We are going to skip every other chain. So I'm going to be skipping this next one. I'm going to do a chain 1, skip this one, and then I'm going to do a single crochet into the next. And you just want to be careful that you have all of your loops all together. And it is a little fiddly at first, but you get used to it really pretty quickly. So again, chain 1, skip the next, single crochet into the next chain. I keep wanting to say stitch. And what this does effectively is it makes a gap in between each of our stitches. Okay, so chain 1, skip the chain, work into the next chain with a single crochet. I'll do it one more time. Chain 1, skip the next chain, work into the next, single crochet. Oh, and you can see I dropped a strand. So when that happens, just pull it out and do it again. Easy peasy. It's one of the best things about crochet is it's so forgiving when you make a mistake. There. It is a good idea to look back every now and then to make sure you've got all of your strands. But if you stretch that out, you can see those chain 1 spaces, which is good because we're going to be building into those in the next row. So I will meet you at the end of this round. Not round, I'm sorry. I will meet you at the end of this row. Okay. Okay, so I have come to the end of my row, and as you see, I've got 2 chains left, which is perfect. That's exactly what I should have. Now, if you don't have 2 chains left, then you should go back and look to see where you may have forgotten to skip a chain. And it's easy enough to do. I did it myself, actually. So I had to go back about halfway and find where I forgot to skip. So in the last and first stitch of every row, you are going to be doing a single crochet. So I just did my chain, and here's my single crochet at the end of the row. So every row starts and ends with a single crochet. Okay, so that marks the end of row 1. And now I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, which basically means just flip it over so we're working back in the same direction that we were before. And we are going to place a single crochet into that very first stitch. Chain 1, and then we are going to place a single crochet from now on into all of the chain 1 spaces. Okay, so this is the first chain 1 space. Start our hook, pull up a loop, and single crochet. Now we're going to chain 1 again and work into the next chain 1 space. Whoops. Chain 1 and the single crochet into the next chain 1 space. It really is that simple. That is the entire rug pattern. See, always going into that chain 1 space, which is really nice when you're working with 6 strands to have a nice big space to crochet into. And we're going to continue working this way all the way across to the end of the row, where we will place a single crochet into the last stitch. Every row starts and ends with a single crochet. I really love how all of the colors that you would normally never put together, I just love how they all play off each other and seem to work really well. All right, so I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, so here we are, fast approaching the end of row 1. I'm just going to finish it up. And I'm going to work a double crochet, or not a double crochet, a single crochet into this last stitch. Oops. There we go. Chain 1 and turn our work. And that is really it. You're going to continue that all the way across every row until the rug is as long as you want it to be. Okay, so I'm just going to work a little bit further until I need to change colors, because I do want to show you how I work that magic knot. So I will see you as soon as I get to that spot. Okay, so this is as far as I've gotten before I ran out of yarn on one of my strands. So see, this strand has come to the end. So I need to join some more yarn to it, and I like to do it just completely randomly. But if you wanted to, like, maybe this was too dark for you and you wanted it to go lighter, you could start adding more lighter shades, or vice versa. If you wanted it to be darker or brighter, you know, you can always add colors or darker yarns. So I'm going to go completely randomly and pick this, this variegated blues. So to do this, I'm just going to actually shove this out of the way so you can kind of see a little better what I'm doing. Let me change my camera angle here. So what you do is you're going to take one strand, going one way and one strand going the opposite way. So you see there's one end down here and there's one end down here. You're going to take the first end and wrap it around the new strand of yarn. And while it's wrapped around there, you're going to just tie it in a simple knot. So you make the knot on itself. You don't tie the knot with the other one. So it kind of wraps around. Okay? And you're just kind of, don't do it too tight yet. Just keep it kind of loose for now. You're going to do the same with the other side. So we're going to take the blue one and wrap it around and tie a knot on itself. Okay, does this make sense? So see, now you've got them tied to each other. This is the really fun part. This is the magic part. You're going to grab the blue and the white, or whatever colors you are using, and just give them a tug. And you see they come closer and closer together. At this point, I do tighten them down quite a bit. Pull up all the way. And then holding the two blue strands, give them a really good tight tug. Same with the white, really good tug. And that is very secure. You can choose to trim them now, nice and short, or you can trim them when you're finished with your project. It's up to you. Usually I'm in the zone of crocheting and I don't want to take the time to cut it, but for now I will just cut it and show you how short you can go. See, you can cut that quite short. And with fabric that is this thick, this little knot is not going to show up at all. Okay? So that is how you make the magic knot. Another fun tip that I do use for this project, because there are 6 strands here, to keep it from unraveling when you set it aside, I use a little hair clip. That way it doesn't come undone and it keeps all of my strands together. Okay, so obviously I am not done with my rug. This would be very small. I still have a long way to go, but I did want to just demonstrate how I fasten off for this project. It's pretty simple, really. I've made my last stitch at the end of this round. I'm simply going to, simply going to pull that through. And I'm not actually going to cut it, because if I were to cut it, I'd have to attach everything back on. But what I would do is just cut it and just pull that through and tighten it down. And I'd have a knot just like I do on this end where I started. And from there, it's just a matter of weaving in your ends. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I really am loving this simple yarn eating, stash busting project. And I have a feeling I'm going to have several of these rugs in my house. Maybe they won't all be quite as colorful. Maybe some will be more muted. But at any rate, I think it's a really fun and useful project. So I hope you have a great, great day, and I hope to see you again really soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.